Welcome to another week of Spreading the Baseball News with Larry. I've been watching this past week a lot of entertaining ball games from Taiwan. Every morning I get up here and check out the games. A lot of hitting going on, an awful lot of hitting. A couple of games, dozen or more runs. My man Zhu Yuxian is tearing up the league. Another home run. That's 10 in 13 games. Wasai, he is the hottest guy on the planet. Talking to my friends about the hitting in Taiwan, how come there's a lot of run scoring this year. We've been kidding around. In 2019, we were talking about the ball being juiced. I think a few pitchers were saying that, a lot of fans were saying that, just the number of home runs, batting averages were way up in 2019 in the American and the National League, and we think that the players were saying it was the ball, and I think maybe this year that same ball is in Taiwan. Kidding aside, we don't really think that's the case. My friends here in the States now are wondering, well, how come there is so much hitting in Taiwan, at least in the first 10 days or so of the schedule? Is it not great pitching? What's going on here? Well, we sort of illustrate some of the differences between baseball in Taiwan and baseball in the States. One of the things we noticed is that as far as the pitchers, not too many pitchers like to throw inside, brush batters off the plate a little bit, but that's true of American baseball as well. The other thing is the strike zone. Notice that the umpires, at least from my perspective, the umpires seem to be squeezing the pitchers a little bit. In other words, it seems to be a real hitter's strike zone. The strike zone seems to be kind of narrow. And one of the things, by the way, about TV in Taiwan that seems to be better than the States is there's not that imaginary strike zone over home plate, indicating whether a pitch is a ball or a strike. I think that in America that sort of takes away from the game because, first of all, pitch is a ball or a strike depending upon where it crosses the plate, and I don't think that imaginary box over home plate really represents what's a ball or strike. I do see that little inset is on the side of the pictures in Taiwan and the broadcast in Taiwan. It's a bit of a less of a distraction. What you do have in Taiwan is sometimes you'll have that box, but not over home plate, but on the side, again, showing whether it's a ball or strike, again, and then whether it's high or low, inside or outside. But I don't see it on all the broadcasts, just sometimes. And I really don't know why. 如果你们知道为什么，请你留言帮我解答。But the hitting, is it, again, that the umpires are really favoring the batters? Is it that the pitching is not that great? Is it a live ball? Well, we're really not sure, but I think one of the things is we'll see as the season goes on whether the hitting cools off a little bit. Usually, by the way, in North America, the first month of this season, it's often said that the pitchers have advantage over the hitters because of the cold weather. Obviously not a factor in Taiwan with the beautiful, I think it was in the 80s most of the time, certainly in games in Tainan, really excellent weather. So that was one of the things we were talking about, some of the differences in the game. The other interesting thing about the broadcast, by the way, is that when there are challenges, interestingly enough in North America, when there's a challenge and there's a review of a particular play on television, while the umpires are waiting for Major League Baseball's umpires who supervise the challenges make a decision. In America, you just see replay after replay after replay before the final decision is made whether the call was correct or the call gets overturned. Here in Taiwan, you notice that they don't show a replay of the play in question until the umpires make a decision whether to leave the call on the field as it stands or to override the umpire's original call. So that's a little bit interesting. Maybe takes away, actually adds to a little bit of the suspense of whether the call will be overturned or not. That's another difference we notice about not so much the broadcast, but I don't see it on all the broadcasts, just sometimes, and I really don't know why. 如果你们知道为什么，请你留言帮我解答。I think also I seem to think that the announcers, by the way, are in North American baseball are generally up in the stands right behind home plate. It seems here that the announcers are way out in either left field or right field, and they don't have as great a view of what's going on. They're relying on the broadcast as well to show them what's going on. So we thought that was another one of the differences between North American baseball and baseball in Taiwan. Another thing I've noticed is I haven't seen much in the way of hit and run, although that's lost in the American game as well. Also, I haven't seen, maybe because there's so much run scoring, is not much in the way of bunting. I haven't seen many sacrifice bunts, which is part of strategy in American baseball, maybe a little bit more in the National League than the American League. Certain managers don't like the sacrifice bunt because it's called giving the team an automatic out. But those are some of the things we've noticed about the game in Taiwan. Otherwise, the game in Taiwan is the same as the game in North America. So these are some of my thoughts. I think next week we're going to talk about some of the players that I'm particularly fond of, and we'll talk about specific teams and players. So hopefully, if you enjoy the channel, you'll subscribe and you'll see me next week. There's an interesting story about the role of an umpire. At the Senate confirmation hearings of the current Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, and that's John Roberts, at his confirmation hearings, he made the analogy that he viewed his role as a judge, and particularly as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, as that of the role of an umpire. And it's become a fairly famous analogy that he made. Justice Roberts has said that after he made those comments, he received a lot of letters and correspondences from law professors at American universities criticizing him and indicating that he did not sufficiently view the role of a judge, the difficulties of being a judge, adequately. To which Justice Roberts replied that these law professors did not sufficiently understand the difficulty it is in being an umpire. So, thanks again for watching. 谢谢你们收看，请订阅。我也是喜欢看到你们留言。那么下个礼拜见。